Welcome to my channel, Living Linux. It's almost the end of the year, so you might hear some fireworks in the background. And that is also a good time to look back at 2024 and also talk about what I expect or hope to happen in 2025. So 2024 started really good for me because I received the RISC-V Litchi console, a mini laptop, and because it has the draft version of the RISC-V vector extension, I was able to get Stable Diffusion XL Turbo working on it. And yeah, also this year I've played around with some other AI stuff. For instance, on the CPU part of the Rockchip RK3588, but later in the year I also played around with the NPU. So we even have Stable Diffusion 1.5 running on the NPU, and anyone that is interested in the NPU, you might want to have a look at the Rockchip RK3576, because it seems it's even slightly faster, at least the NPU part, but the CPU part is slower, and that's also why it is a cheaper chip than the RK3588. Now, coming back to RISC-V, we had a test version of a PlayStation 2 emulator on RISC-V, and we also got Batocera for the RISC-V Vision 5.2. So those are very promising developments. I also bought a Intel N100 mini PC. Yeah, they have a very good price-performance ratio, faster than both the Raspberry Pi 5 and the Rockchip RK3588. It does consume more electricity, but from a price-performance perspective, yeah, I think if you shop around a bit, you can buy them for around 100 euros. Perhaps if you want to have a fully loaded one with 16 gigabytes and an SSD, perhaps it's more like 150. But on the other hand, I think if you go with a Raspberry Pi 5 or a Rockchip RK3588 system, you're looking at roughly the same prices. So yeah, we got some unfortunate news from Joshua Rick. Yeah, he had a hard time getting access to the documents because it seems they are protected by Rockchip behind an NDA. And I also had the feeling that he didn't feel that much support from the community. So for his health, I think he decided to take a step back for the time being. So I wish him all the best. And, well, perhaps we'll see him back in 2025, but we should not count on it. Yeah, I also bought a new phone, Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6. I had the 5, but the 6 has an upgraded camera. And that was the main reason for me, and of course it's slightly faster, etc, etc. Now also a word from the sponsors. I had 2 sponsors this year, so Mekotronics. They are a long-time sponsor. They are actually my first sponsor, and I'm happy to see that they are still around. And they gave me the Mekotronics R57 with the Rockchip RK3586. And the other sponsor is Geniatech. They gave me a Raspberry Pi Zero form factor single board computer, so that's really small. Yeah, for me it did give a little bit of challenge with that, and also it had, well, at least from my perspective, a bit of limited amount of memory, so that didn't make things any easier for me either. But it was interesting to have a single board computer as small as the Zero form factor. Now, I also bought the Banana Pi F3, which is, I've been told, almost RVA22 compliant. I think it's missing one extension, working with unaligned vectors. But I've also been told that it's not very good for performance to work with unaligned vectors. So yeah, if you're really going to miss that extension, probably not, because the expectation is that most developers prefer to work with aligned vectors because it gives better performance. I also bought a AMD Ryzen 8845HS mini PC. Yeah, that's one of the main reasons, was that it has better performance than, for instance, my Rockchip RK3588. And I also upgraded it to 96 gigabytes of memory, and that really should help with AI tasks. It's not fastest, but I just want to see what I can do with it without buying an extra GPU. And well, it also made it possible to test RPCF3, a PlayStation 3 emulator. A lot of games, they run at 60 frames per second at 720p. Unfortunately, God of War, that is still struggling to get to 60 frames per second. Interesting part is that the RPCF3 team, they released a Linux ARM version and they tested it on the Raspberry Pi 5, but I tested it, and unfortunately with the Vulkan driver for the Raspberry Pi 5, it's really unstable, and I haven't seen anyone that was able to run it very stable with the Vulkan driver for the Raspberry Pi 5. So you can run it with OpenGL, for instance, on Windows on ARM through WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux. You need to install the OpenGL driver, but even there, I was running on a Snapdragon 8CX Gen 2. I didn't have the feeling that we were running on the GPU. And yeah, also I tried to test it on the Rockchip RK3588. I don't have a working Vulkan driver for it, so that's where I fell back to LLVM pipe. So that means that you're basically running on the CPU, so that's not very good for performance. But yeah, since it's not very stable on the Raspberry Pi 5 either, I think you're better off at the moment with a Rockchip RK3588. And last but not least, I bought the Libre Computer Alta, M-Logic A311D single board computer. It has EFI support, so that means that your not that dependent on the images specifically for this single board computer, but you can take the general ARM Linux images. For instance, I tested with OpenSUSE and Fedora 42, and well, it's not 100% stable, but yeah, we'll try to tweak that, and perhaps we get a nice stable Fedora 42 in 2025. So yeah, looking forward to 2025. I hope I can do some more videos on, for instance, AI on the MPU of the Rockchip RK3588, test some more with RPCF3, as I already said, trying to get a stable Linux image on the Libre Computer Alta. And yeah, perhaps when we get proper Linux GPU drivers for the Imagination Technologies GPU on the RISC-V chips, then perhaps I can also do some more games testing. So I guess that is the story for my YouTube channel. And well, I can try to promote one of the bigger YouTube channels, but that doesn't make much sense because they probably wouldn't even notice it. So I'm going to promote some smaller channels. So here is the channel of ptitSeb, and I think his channel name is ptitSeb123, and I think he is the main developer of Box64 and also Box86 and nowadays Box32. And with these programs you can run x86 code on ARM and RISC-V. And I think they have a Milk 5 Pioneer with a 64-core RISC-V chip and an AMD Radeon GPU. So here you can see, for instance, like The Witcher 3 on RISC-V. And unfortunately, I don't have systems that are powerful enough to try that. But if you are interested in x86 emulation on ARM and RISC-V, do subscribe to his channel and hopefully we will see a lot more videos. Now, one other smaller channel that I want to promote is DoktorCranium. He also is making videos about RISC-V. So for instance here the dev term, and you can see he has the DC Roma RISC-V pad 2, and he also is testing some games on it, even Quake 3. So one other small channel is comradePuffin, and he has the Vision 5 too, and he also has been testing some games on the Vision 5 too. And also here, last but not least, just another DevOps guy. He has the Milk 5 Jupiter, also with an Radeon GPU, and he also has the Vision 5 too, and he was able to connect an external GPU to that. And as you can see, that also makes things easier to get games working on RISC-V. Now, one of the big topics on my channel is systems with the Rockchip RK3588. there's been a lot of work done to get better mainline kernel support for the Rockchip RK3588. I think Collabora is one of the main organizations working on that. So who knows that perhaps in 2025 that we can run just fully on a mainline Linux kernel. And that would also mean that we get hopefully also more choice in the different distros. And I think one of the obstacles is the HDMI display support, but they say that it will come with kernel 6.13. Now there is this rumor that Rockchip is pulling out of the single board computer market. We'll have to see if that rumor is true or not. Well, Collabora, at the time of this article, they said that they still have a solid relationship with Rockchip. So yeah, we'll have to see how that will work out. And yeah, also one of the things is that I do hope that we get a working Vulkan driver for the Rockchip RK3588 in 2025. Collabora is working on it, but it's still a work in progress. So now coming back to Rockchip, I really do hope that they won't pull out of the single board computer market, because they announced the successor of the Rockchip RK3588, and surprise surprise, they call it the RK3688. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be quite a big upgrade. Faster CPU, faster GPU, faster NPU. So yeah, hopefully we will see it in 2025, but yeah, as the author of this article also says, don't be surprised. It will, you will have to wait until 2026. And again, hopefully the rumor isn't true that they are pulling out of the single board computer market. And it seems that Raja, that they announced plans for a Rock 6 single board computer with that chip. Now, talking about companies that might have to pull back from a market, one of the chips that I was really looking forward to is the Sophgo SG2380. And as you can see, it was already announced in 2023. We were hoping to see it in 2024, but it didn't happen, and things have gone a little bit quiet. And even up to the point that people perhaps want to pull out, because you were able to deposit, I think it might have been something like $1 or perhaps $5, something like that. To get a discount coupon for when it was going to launch, and then you're also ahead of the queue. But yeah, like I said, things have gone really quiet. And yeah, also this news didn't help, because there's this suspicion that Huawei, that they evaded these sanctions, and that the company Sophgo helped with that. So it looks like Sophgo might be sanctioned by the US government. So that would mean that the future of the SG2380 is very uncertain. Now, one other RISC-V chip that I'm still looking forward to is the Starfive JH8100. As you can see, they are already working on Linux support. For instance, this is from the 3rd of May. But yeah, the last couple of months I haven't seen any news around it. Starfive is also silent on it, or at least I haven't seen any news announcements or those kind of things. So yeah, fingers crossed that it might come in 2025, but I think also here, yeah, we should not be surprised that it gets postponed to 2026. Now here is one more YouTube video from Code Therapy with René Rebe. He was sent a prototype sample of a 7 nanometer RISC-V chip or system, and someone on Reddit told me that it's probably the Qilai or Qilai chip. Not really sure how to pronounce that. Yeah, if I have the money when it releases, then perhaps I will be interested to buy it, but we'll have to see what the price will be and also what my financial situation is going to be, because I'm saving up for a Snapdragon X Elite Linux laptop from Tuxedo, and that probably is not going to be a cheap laptop. And well, you can say that perhaps I can buy a Snapdragon X Elite laptop already from, let's just say, Lenovo or perhaps Dell or some other company. But I want to support a company that has a focus on Linux support. So that way that my money really goes towards Linux support. And Tuxedo, they were hoping for a Christmas miracle, but unfortunately that didn't happen. I haven't seen any clear news on when to expect this laptop, so we'll have to wait and see. Now, as a last thing, I really hope in 2025 that we do get working Linux GPU drivers for the Imagination Technology GPUs on the RISC-V chips. It's a bit unclear if it will work for Division 5 too. I assume that at some point in time it will happen, but it looks like for the moment there's more progress for instance, the Banana Pi F3, the Space Mid chip. And I think the driver or firmware has been uploaded, but they still need to get the last details right. So it looks like we're very close to the finish line, but we haven't passed it yet. Oh yeah, so 3 months ago I've just pushed the firmware binary and device info. But it seems that they need to work out the last details. So, for me, this was a look back at 2024. Yeah, my channel really saw some good growth. Hopefully that will continue in 2025, and that we will also see some more developments for the RK3588 and also the RISC-V chips. So I hope that you had a wonderful 2024, and let's hope we can make it an even better 2025. This is all for now, and I hope to see you again in 2025.